All right. Hello, everybody. There was a little hiccup there, but I've got it working now, and we are live. Let's see if you guys are here. So let me go check and find you guys. Make sure everything is going smoothly. And I think I'm live. I'm pretty sure I am. I think I'm live now. I just don't see anybody here yet, so I'll wait for you guys to get here. It says 4 watching now. Okay, there's me and 4 others, so at least we're up and running. Bernadette Desir, hello. Caitlin Ingo, hello. 78 Cheerio, hi. White Dove, hi. Jet, hi. Brenja, hi. Susan, hi. All right, so we are live now, and we are working, so that's great. We're up and going. So I have 2 guests tonight. One is Floyd Bocox, and the other is Carla Fischi Lazim. All right. So before I get to my guests, what I want to tell you about are my next coming up podcast. Tomorrow night, Tim Tactics returns, and I don't know if you remember him. He's been on a couple times, but he came. He apparently used to work in some kind of European space agency and has had contact with ETs. And yesterday we talked about contacting ETs with a Ouija board, as well as we talked something about reptilian aliens liking to dance, among other things. So I think you guys will enjoy that one. And then this morning I recorded a video with somebody from Staticom. And it's like the ghost box, the spirit box, they've taken it to the next level where they're not using radios anymore. They're just using white noise. So there's no noise coming from a radio, or you can't say that there's words that they're pulling out, and they're actually being able to filter the noise down, and you can hear conversations, and it's pretty amazing. Wait till you see that. We've got some video of that. I think you're really going to enjoy that. And when we're talking about that, I feel like it adds some pieces to the puzzle with NDEs and what's going on there. So I hope you guys will check that one out. For the rest of the week, let's see what is coming up this week. Where is June, July? I've got an NDE tomorrow to record. I've got not tomorrow, but Monday. I have a UFO person on Monday. I have an NDE to record on Tuesday, a UFO video on Wednesday. A guy named Savi, and he's some kind of I don't know, metaphysical teacher or something. I guess he's pretty famous. He's out in the scene, so I have him on Thursday. I thought I scheduled someone on Friday. I got to go see what happened to that, because I remember talking to somebody. I need to go put them in my calendar. And then on next week, I have the Thompson sisters, which were 3 sisters that I had before that are psychics, and they're coming back to, I guess, talk about what's going on the rest of the year. So that's kind of the week in advance. Most likely I will schedule more people as well. I like to, have lots of people that I'm interviewing, and then I can kind of decide which one I want to publish next. So it works out, works out better that way. All right, so I think that's it. In the description are links to our Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. You'll see my last name is Reynolds. My beloved wife is Mariana. There's links to our other YouTube channels, to the Discord. If you want to join our Discord, it's totally free. All you need to do is email me personally for the Discord password. And that's it. Our merch store, our website, and things like that. So with that all taken care of, let's bring in Floyd. And let me tell you about Floyd first. Now, I don't know if you remember, and most of you are, I'm pretty sure, aware of the rock band The Doors. And About a year or two ago, I had Jim Morris's brother-in-law on. And we talked about the Doors, Jim Morrison, what's going on. And that was a cool podcast. And he recently transitioned over to the other side, but his publicist had contacted me about Floyd Bocox, Floyd Bocox, who got involved with one of Jim Morrison's love, I guess you'd call it a love child or an illegitimate child. We'll find out more about him, but recorded him, and I went and watched one of the music videos, and he sounds just like Jim Morrison. And depending on the picture, he looks a lot like him. And that's a picture of him in today's video thumbnail, but in that picture his hair is lighter and doesn't look as much like him to me. But if you hear him sing, you'll learn all about it. So let's bring Floyd in and talk to him and see what's going on, what he can tell us about it. And besides that, Floyd has served as a CEO and president of a record company and all kinds of stuff. Floyd, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, Jeff. How you doing?
Great. I was just bragging on you. So,
I hope it was good.
yes, of course. So how did you meet, or how did you get involved with the Morrison family? You know, Morrison's brother-in-law, his son Cliff. How did this all happen for you?
Oh, it's an interesting story. Oh, well, coming from San Pedro, and I've had previous record companies from the past.
Mm-hmm.
And so the keyboardist, his mother went to Mary Star with me, and they reached out to me through a mutual friend of ours who's a doctor. And his wife approached me, "Hey, man, would you help out the band?" I said, "All right, well, let's check them out and see what's going on here." So I did an audition at my house with the band, and there was a couple other band members we had to change, but it was somewhat, together. And at that time, I brought the senior vice president from Willam Morriss Endeavor. Her name's Nicole David, very well-known woman. And her husband was a producer, Brian Braff, who worked for me also on some other music projects that we've done in the past. So after the audition and stuff, and she goes, she pulled me on the side. She goes, Floyd, he sounds like Jim. And I go, "What do you think?" And she goes, "You know what? Sign him up." And I said, "All right." So that's how I kind of started off for Cliff and then the Lizard Sun Band in regards to how he got with me through mutual friends and stuff like that. And then from there, I had to recreate the band in itself, the Lizard Sun Band. We had to do auditions, and and matter of fact, all the musicians are all longshoremen here in San Pedro. So that's how that went that way. It took a little while, but then, rehearsals and all that stuff. And finally, we got it all together on the band part. So they were tight. They were
So,
good, really good.
so what is Cliff's story? I mean, who is his mother? When was
Ooh.
he conceived? How did this all happen?
Yeah, here we go with the mystery thing. I know this channel's about mysteries and stuff. Uh, to me, I really didn't look at that as far as the DNA has been an issue. And I'm just being honest, Jeff, just being there and with Cliff rehearsing the band, looking at him while I'm there in the studio, just my hair standing up on my arm. And I'm just saying, this guy's being channeled. He sounds just like Jim, It's just like, it was amazing. So that part, as far as who, another part was Jim Morrison's brother-in-law. We're going to touch on him for a minute, Alan Graham. Now, before, Alan used to take care of Cliff and also created a Lizard Sun Band back in the day. And from there, he made a public announcement on San Diego, because they're all down there in that area, and stated that he walks and talks like Jim, has the mannerism of his grandfather, which is Jim's father, the Admiral, and just like to me, that was another thing that solidified that, okay, even Jim Morrison's brother-in-law saying he's Jim's son. So that was another part that, okay, that kind of helped out in his behalf. But I really didn't need that, to be honest. And I mean, he just, his voice, his talent, his lyrics. I mean, he's got the poetry just like his father. So that's how that happened for me. And then when you go about talking about who his mother is, this is true. When they first came to San Pedro, this woman by the name of Lorraine Wyden came with Cliff, and she stated that she was Cliff's mother. And so, I said, okay, well, back in the day, I can see her being very pretty and a groupie. When she was young, she looked like Sharon Tate. That was part of the Manson murder thing. I'll get on that one about Charles Manson too. But yeah, she was that type of individual where she supposedly they're down at Venice Beach and all that stuff. So we've heard different stories, but we've seen videos in the office from back in the day where my assistant would say, hey, look at this video. And it's showing Pamela Corson here in Beverly Hills at a private party. And then you can see the image Lorraine White in it, like, whoa, maybe, of course, they were good friends and affiliated to each other. So maybe that's where this came about, so. And another thing was that at the office, Jeff, was that we had a phone call one time, and it was from Pamela Corson's mother, Pearl. And she called the office looking for Cliff and seeing how he's doing. So that was unexpected in itself, too. Why would her mother call us at the office? Hey, how's Cliff doing? Is he okay? Type of thing. So, yeah, image wise, Cliff has the features of Pamela with the red hair, the complexion of her face. He does fit that type, as far as where he was, from Pam, but then Jim in itself, his jawline, his eyes and all that too, the fan base is worldwide. And the majority of them all say he is the love child, period. That's it. But I still get it once in a while about this DNA issue. And, Robbie Krieger from the Doors, Cliff told me, which I do have a document stating that he did go, Robbie Krieger did walk him over to the doctor's office that would go ahead and take care of the blood work and all that. And I have that copy from his blood work that they did this. And so he told me about that. And then also, it's kind of interesting how that facility for the physicians in itself burnt down. This is true. That whole thing burnt down with everybody's records and all that stuff also. So it was kind of some weird like mysteries. Why did these things occur and happen to this? So it's like to me, a hidden agenda. And I've never been attacked by the estate, the Morrison estate in itself, or even like, say, for instance, when we were getting ready to release the new album, Color of People, and on the third song, it's called Liquid Highway, we have a hard copy, or I have a hard copy letter from Louis Riesman, who's the attorney for the estate at the time. And I called them. They know who I am. And they go, well, Floyd, I said, I'm getting ready to release this album. And goes, all right, send me a copy, Floyd. And I said, all right, Lou, and I did. And a couple of weeks later, I got the letter stating that is Jim's voice. How did you get it? And Danny Sugarman, the Doors manager, gave it to Cliff and told him, your father wanted you to have this before I die. And so from there, that's when it's like 4 samples of Jim's poetry. And on the last sample on that, Jim talks about my boy who one day will rule the world. So that I've never been attacked for that album. Nothing.
Well, it sounds like then that Jim was aware of Cliff.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I agree. And it shows there's some images of Pam where she's got her hand on her stomach, you know what I mean? And it was pointed out to me like maybe she was pregnant at the time, but yeah.
Is it possible she had the baby and gave it to her best friend or whatever, this other woman?
That's what we agreed to, that this baby was given to Lorraine White, and that was it. And then she took on the responsibility raising him up, because previous band members that were in this Lizard Son band with Cliff, and one of them was dating his sister, and he kind of told me some information about the inside, what was really going on and with this family, you know, at a younger age, as teenagers and stuff. So it was like, okay, you know, that was interesting.
Why do you think he never broke through into some sort of, popularity or stardom? Because I was not even aware of this story until I was approached by you guys. So why do you think this story never got out there?
I feel that it's being suppressed by there's a few individuals here in Hollywood, and I don't want to bring up their names, but they did not want. Or I could give you a true example though. Why? Okay, so a couple of them. The first one was that after I released the band at the NAMM show, right? Public announcement, boom. I mean, it was packed at the LA NAMM show, and everybody came there. I even hired KLOS FM here in LA, doing radio promotions. I was paying for everything. And the director at the LA NAMM called me. He goes, Floyd, shut that radio announcement down, because we're getting so many phone calls saying, is that Jim Morrison? You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, so I had to call KLOS and shut that radio advertisement down. But when we rolled in there, I mean, it was limos and just paparazzi. I'm being honest. Well, you can go on YouTube and see these live performances and stuff. But yeah, there's been a few interviews and stuff also, Composer's Corner, and they ask him questions about him being Jim's son and all that stuff. And the one other incident was at the Whiskey A Go Go. Now that's famous place, even where the Doors played.
Right.
And so we had an event there. It was already contractually signed by the documents I had, and it was already signed by them. And so we get there to go perform at the Whiskey A Go Go. The band's in there. They're already going through their first set performing. And all of a sudden, boom, everything is shut down. The police come in, the fire department comes in, and then they go, we got a bomb threat. This is true, bro. This is true. There's a bomb threat. Everybody evacuate now. So we all go out on the streets in Hollywood, and then they completely shut the whole deal down. And later on down the road, I found out who called in the bomb threat was Jim Morrison's brother-in-law, Alan
Why
Graham.
would he do that? I thought he was
Uncle, we
supporting
call
him.
him Uncle Al,
Right.
because
Why?
he's a hater. Being honest, he did. See, he used to have his hands on Cliff and the other band, and he got too heavy-handed with Cliff, because Cliff found out that Uncle Al was not being faithful to his wife, and then he was like dealing with Domino Harvey, that whole scenario, how she died, and she was part of this whole other thing going on, and he kind of let it out, and so they left. They took off and went to Utah and got away from Uncle Al, and they stayed there. And he went after him with guns and all that stuff in his trunk. He got pulled over by the police. I even remember going with Lorraine Wyden to the FBI agency here in LA, walking in there talking about all this stuff. And they did have some type of report on Alan Graham for doing this kind of stuff. So they were afraid of him. And Alan Graham is an individual you do not want to mess with. He can be really scary. You
Yeah.
know, him coming from England,
Right. I think
and then from
he's
there,
connected, and isn't even Alan like friends with King Charles?
yeah, oh yeah. And him being part of being grown up in Liverpool in England, but when he came over here, he had background like a secret society type of thing with not CIFBI, but over there's a different term that they use for what
Like an
he is.
MI6 or something?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And so I mean, for him to be around certain individuals, say like, for instance, was Sylvester Stallone hired him, and he was kind of watching over his son Sage. And it was kind of, there to take him to school, pick him up, and all that stuff for a while until Sage passed away. And then from there, then he migrated over to Larry Flint. And from there, he was with Larry Flint as the publicist and also his right-hand man, as making sure everything goes right. And then when Larry Flint got into a divorce against Theo Flint, well, that's the thing that here we go again with Alan Graham, because every time he's brought up, there's certain people that's died in his presence or been around him that's been brought up. And again, Thea Flint dies, and they found her again in the bathtub with a needle in her arm. So that kind of like, okay, this is what he's known for, that kind of stuff. So yeah, Alan Graham, and then we'll touch on another one with him, is that Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain.
Yes. Now, Cliff was very close to Kurt.
Wow.
And they used to party and hang out with Courtney too. And so Kurt gave him that green little beanie. He used to wear it when he's performing and stuff. So that was also brought up. And so a friend of mine, mutual friend of ours, who runs Los Angeles Music Awards here in LA, a good 30 years in award show. I mean, top of the line, his name's Al Bowman. Before he got to this point, back in the day, he was kind of doing videos, and he was out there kind of checking out this whole scene, what happened to him, and Kurt Cobain, I died. And there's a famous Seattle punk group out there also. And the person, his name is Al Ducci. Now, Al Ducci's had his own thing going on, but he was also close to Kurt because they all did their trip together. And so I remember Al Bowman seeing the video on YouTube. I think they took it down, but back then I remember seeing it, and they're doing an interview on Al Ducci, and he's talking about what happened to Kurt Cobain and how Courtney came up to the house, gave him like, they wanted to give him, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000 off him off. And no, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? And then that got out. Then the guys were at the house in Seattle on the porch, the whole band members, they're all hanging out there. And this big old black limo pulls up. And supposedly, now that I don't know if it was Uncle Al or not, but supposedly they got out of the car. Al Ducci got in the car with them and took off. The band members didn't see him for the whole day that night. The next day, they found Al Ducci dead down on the front of the railroad tracks down there. So he died too. So yeah, it's a mystery of what Alan Graham has done and been involved in. But for sure, I didn't want, I mean, we had it out, me and him, as far as verbal, because he kept on trying to stop what I'm doing, and he was just mad about the whole situation of Cliff doing what he's doing. You know what I mean? So
now,
we went at it.
What's the connection between Cliff and what's the guy, Charles Manson?
Oh, that's a good story. Okay, so like everybody, Cliff's been in prison 4 times. The 3rd time when he was in, then it's always for the same stupid stuff. It's like robbery, like a 7-Eleven or donuts thing, wearing a mask and a toy plastic gun. And so the last time, I think they gave him 8 years to go do. And so he was in Folsom Prison, and Manson was there. Now, Charles Manson was like a couple cells over, and Manson would yell out to Cliff saying, "I almost got you, Morrison." So Cliff told me about that. He says, "Yeah, man, my mom looked just like," well, he calls her mom, but we know it's not his mom, but Lorraine White. And he would say, "Yeah, man, she looked like Sharon Tate, and that's why they tried to get me. And plus, he loves my dad's music," which is true. Now, Charles Manson, he likes to play the guitar. He sings and writes his songs. He loves Jim Morrison, like a groupie thing. So, yeah, I mean, that's how those two met in prison. And they kind of stayed away from each other, but still they would, from a distance talk to each other. You know what I mean? Your father was great, and I miss him and stuff like that. That's what Cliff told me.
Now, Cliff's band was called the Lizard what? The Lizard King or
Yeah, the Lizard Sun Band.
the Lizard Son? Now, wasn't Jim, he was called the Lizard King or something like that?
That's right.
Do
Yeah,
you think it
that's
was a good idea to kind of piggyback off that name overall?
well, that's what Cliff wanted to do.
Hmm.
And I'm being honest, yeah, this is what he wanted to do. And I just wanted to keep him as my artist happy. So
Right,
that's when I created Lizard Sun Entertainment. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
So then I signed him as my artist and stuff like that. Yeah,
What?
I have no regrets about it,
All
Jeff,
right.
you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
you just, I would think that maybe, I don't know, I'm not in music marketing, but
Well, I've had
sometimes maybe the child of the artist, if they separate themselves, it may have worked better. I don't know.
not Cliff. No, he definitely wanted to, be under his father's wing. And I mean, God, yeah, definitely he wanted to be like him.
Now, where is Cliff today?
That's a good one, Jeff. Not good. I know he's roaming around, but matter of fact, Alan Graham sent me a video about a year ago, and he posted it up in some kind of a trailer home,
Hmm.
bald, all his teeth pretty much gone, big old gash on his head. And I was like, oh my God, why are you guys even posting this up? You know what I mean? It was bad. Felt bad about it. But yeah, my understanding is now that supposedly I know he's been on a roll again, drugs and all that stuff. He just can't get away from that. That's another downfall to him in itself, as far as doing drugs and stuff like that. It just ruined his life. He had it all there, Jeff.
Hmm.
Everything was there. I'm being honest. I mean, at the end of this whole thing, I delivered what I needed to do when I had the phone call from this woman I was telling about from Willam Morriss Endeavor. She's a major agent, and her clients are like Whitney Houston, Reba McEntire, Patrick Swayze. She's got quite a few people underneath her, and I always go by her advice as far as when it comes to talent and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Her name's Nicole David. I mentioned her earlier. So Nicole calls me up, a true story. And she goes, Floyd, can you come up to my house? And I said, they live in Marina Del Rey, a beautiful home right on the canal. So I said, okay, brought my assistant with me, and I get there and we're sitting there, and she goes, grab some iced tea and stuff. And she goes, Floyd, what's going on? I said, oh, everything's going forward, music's done. And, we're just like, we're just trying to get it to the next level. She goes, well, I'll help you. And I said, oh, will you? And she goes, yeah. I go, what's on your mind? And she goes, well, you know what? What about that Lorraine White? And I go, yeah, supposedly she's writing a novel. Okay, you tell her this. I'm going to give her $1 million up front, a literary agent, a publishing deal. And I said, oh my God, like, wow. And I said, can I
Yeah.
ask a favor? And she goes, yeah, what do you want? I go, can I have a reality show? She
Mm.
goes, you got it. I
Wow.
said, yeah. We're all happy. And thank you, Nicole. And, here we go. We're back in the Mercedes, heading back to the office. And I get there, everybody's there in the office. And I said, I got good news. And I looked at Lorraine, she's in the office, and said, I got you $1 million, a publishing deal, a literary agent, and I got a reality show for the band, man. And everybody goes, yay. And then she says, I'm not doing it. I go, what are you talking about? I'm not doing it. I worked, paid all this money and to do that, because I'm being honest with you. I put these people in one of my homes for almost a year. I'm paying the mortgage, the food. I mean, you name it. I'm taking care of them while they're under my wing. You know what I mean? And then they did that. And I said, oh man. And then Cliff took sides with her and says, not, and they try to get the band to jump on this thing. I go, oh no, that's it. You guys are done then. So that was the reason why Liz's son went down, shut it down, because what happened? So then the division came in between the band members, all from Pedro, and me, and against Lorraine and Cliff. So the majority of the band members took sides with me because it's a Pedro thing. But a couple of them didn't. They stayed with them. I said, all right, fine, go. You guys do your own thing, which they did. And I already prepaid, I think it was about $8,000 for this event in November. And this was at the LA Music Awards in Hollywood. So it was one big showcase. I mean, multi cameras and paparazzi, all that stuff. And so they said, please don't come by here. And I said, all right, I didn't. But what happened was the band went on stage. It wasn't the original members. It didn't sound good. And so it was like sideways, but they still love Cliff Al Bowman and his fiance. And at that end of the night, they gave him an award for the best rock and roll artist. So he got the award anyway.
Wow, that's great.
So yeah, I said, all right,
One second here, Floyd. If you guys have questions for Floyd, feel free to put them in the description. Make sure you put them in all caps so then I can find them quicker. And I just want to let you guys know that, and I wanted to put that out there. Now, I don't know what you guys, did you write a book about Floyd? Did you make a movie about him, or what's going on with that?
yeah. So what I did was, I don't know, quite a few years ago back, I got a call from Nicole David, and she's just checking in on me, and she knew everything's sideways with me. And she goes, Floyd, you should probably write a book about this. And I said, really? She goes, yeah, I mean, it's very interesting of what happened and what you've gone through and all the people that are involved in this situation. And I said, all right, so Cliff's in prison. Now, here is Cliff's, well, let's say it's his baby's mama. Her name's Lisa. Lisa has a daughter from Cliff. This is interesting, brother. And from there, they name her after Jim Morrison's mother, Clara Morrison. It's there. It's done deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's authentic and everything. So from there, it was just like, all right, like this whole situation with Lisa, Clara. I mean, we can talk about this if you want. It's up to you how much time you want to put on the parameters on this thing. Because I'm being honest, Jeff, there's so much to talk about as far as Cliff and that part. I'll take you real quick back when Cliff and they got it. I had to have them evicted out of my house, one of my homes. And we went to court, brought my mom, and I brought my priest with me because I kind of spiritually on that part. And at the time, she wanted 30 days. And then the judge looked at me and said, no, they got to go. So won the court case. They left in a few days. Now, I live right up the street from them. And I go over there to the house that they're renting. It's a 2-story ocean view. And Jeff, to be honest, this is really what happened. I walked downstairs to the bottom level. This is where Cliff's staying, and the laundry room and the bathroom. So I've got my priest with me, and he looks, and there's on the toilet seat in itself, there's a pentagram of the devil stuff, right? He etched it right there, the pentagram. And I look at my priest, I go, what the hell's this elevator? He goes, well, he's going to the bathroom. He's on you, thinking about you while he's doing this. And then I was looking at the toilet seat, and right there's the wall right there. And then it's written in Latin. And I go, what is that? He goes, dude, that's he's praying to the devil. And he's got all this phrases and stuff that he's praying, but it's in Latin. I said, oh my God, really? Like, whoa, now we're getting into spirituality thing now. Here we go. And, back then, I had him baptized. I wanted him to be on the with the light, in other words, not the dark side. And I am with the light. And I had him baptized. Claire, not Clara, but Lisa, his mom, all of us have been baptized to be on the right path. And then he went backwards and he got on back in the dark side of that stuff. So some of the stuff you talk about that, and even with Jim and his other girlfriend, Patricia Keneally, who lives in New York. She's dead now, but she's the one that did the Celtic ritual with the knife when they both cut their, slashed their arms together, their wrists, and pour the blood in the goblet. That's the kind of the dark scene that Cliff was also getting involved in. So, so anyway, that did happen too. Pretty heavy.
Yeah, it is pretty heavy. There was something I was going to ask you, and then I just
Take your
dropped
time,
it.
brother.
I just dropped my train of thought there. But
That's okay.
so
We got
when you this guy, this is what I wanted to say. What is the name of that song you sent me, the YouTube video? If you guys go listen to the YouTube video and watch it and listen to the song, you close your eyes and it sounds just like Jim Morrison singing. I mean, it even sounds like a Doors song. What is the name of that
right,
song, and what's the YouTube channel if people want to go listen to it?
Jeff. We got quite a few songs on there. I'm not sure when you're talking about. I mean, from the first album, No Peeking. I mean, you even got, to be honest, you even have Robbie Krieger's son from the Doors performing with Cliff. That's another validation right there.
Right.
Waylon Krieger as the lead guitarist
What
on that
is
band.
what is your publicist's name that contacted me? I forgot his name. Is it John?
Oh, John Separich.
John,
Yeah,
okay, because John
John is
is the one that
very,
sent me that video,
yeah.
and maybe I can tell everybody what that video is, because if you listen to it, and the song's great too. It's like, wow, I really enjoy listening to the song. It's a great song. And
Yeah,
I
he's
don't know
got
why my
quite a few good
Facebook's super
songs.
slow, but I can't get my messenger right now. But gosh,
You want to talk about,
I
who's also a big one
who is
is
that?
Matthew Millan from Millan Banking.
From Mellon Bank. Okay,
Yeah.
he's mixed up with Cliff or with Alan.
Oh, yeah. We got what? We got a few famous people, actors. Billy Worth, he's involved, and you even have River Phoenix, Brian James. He's also involved with Cliff. We got quite a few people that were very famous, and then on top of it, Cliff was married to Marlon Brando's niece also for 4 years in the Marina Del Rey. So I mean, he was running with some famous people, and they all believed who he was, and he's going to these Hollywood parties and carrying on, and nobody questioned him. But he became good friends with some famous people. But Matthew Millan is one of them, and Matthew Millan, of course, was the co-founder for Jimmy Choo, the shoes, and then Harry's of London. That was another one of Matthew's. But they are a billion-dollar family with Mellon Banking out of New York, and he was pretty heavy. He always would have his entourage of guards, probably 7 or 8 guards around him all the time. And the stories that Cliff would tell me would say one instance would be a great story for the movie, would be Matthew and Cliff in the bank vault sitting on tops of cash of money, and then they're doing cocaine. They're doing lines of cocaine on top of the money. That's real what they did. And then from there, they go way back together. And Matthew loved doing music also and writing songs, which he would help collaborate with Cliff on a few songs that they did. And so, yeah, he was a big fan of Jim Morrison for sure. But they were really close. Matthew, a matter of fact, I'll give you another story real quick, is that when Cliff got out of prison for the last stint in prison, they met Cliff on the side of the freeway in my area, picked him up and took him up to Hollywood Hills at some crazy ass mansion where it had its own studio and all that stuff. And he put him there and just, all right, you're with me now. You're back with me. And they start again with the nonsense partying, doing the opioids and the heroin and all that crap. And then Matthew had enough of it. He says, I can't do this no more. So this is in my book. This is true. And so Matthew decides to take off and go back to Cancun, Mexico into rehab. And this time he doesn't have his own security guards with him. He's got a whole new crew with him. Like, okay, And so he gets down there and touches down for the night and get ready to go into a rehab. The next day they found him dead. And
Wow.
say 6 feet away, they found a syringe that was heroin in it. And Matthew didn't like to do that stuff. And how we both agreed is that this other individual, Billy Worth, is really good friends with them all. And I do talk to Billy once in a while. And we both agreed that Matthew was killed down there. No way would Matthew would have done that. So it was just like, all right, here we go. We both know that they off Matthew, but the reason why they killed Matthew was because of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the beginning for Matthew Millan and the Banking Institute.
Wow.
And so he was involved. He had all the, there's certain individuals that killed him behind him because of all that stuff that went happen. That's true though, for sure, Jeff. That's what happened to Matthew.
All right, I went and found that song from what John sent me, and I put the link into the YouTube description below. The song is called August Moon.
Oh, my favorite. That's one of my favorites.
I guess the YouTube channel is called Cliff Morrison and the Lizard Sun Band. But even if you look at the video with his hair darker, he looks just like Jim Morrison in that picture. He looks just like him. You look at that picture and listen to the song. It sounds like a Doors song. He sounds
No Peeking
a lot
album.
like him. Yeah, that if you listen to that, you'll be amazed that, it's too bad that somehow, I don't know. You said that he got his DNA I guess it results, but I mean, what about Jim's DNA? I mean, he's buried in the ground somewhere, so how are they going to get his DNA records?
All right, Jeff, this is what needs to be done. All right, so now you got Cliff's daughter, Clara Morrison. She's 16 right now. Give her a couple more years, and then she's able to go after the estate and prove that Jim's her grandfather. So in the meantime, yeah, I mean, I did my research. Roughly, it's about $10,000 to private investigator to go out, and then Jim still has a brother alive in Hawaii, and he's got a sister Anna that's here locally that's alive too. So yeah, I mean, if we really wanted to do that, they would go out to the trash, get a cup, all that stuff. I got Cliff's hair samples, do a DNA, all that stuff, and make a public announcement. I mean, that's something that could be done. So, but it's just like, I'm just kind of like on standby to see where we're going to go with this. And my intent is to get this movie going, Morrison Land. We're on the last part of it right now. It's already got a screenplay. We've got trailers, and it's on IMDb, Morrison Land. So it's a true life story. So, well, we're just looking for the right people. I've been approached by 3 different film companies, but they want all my intellectual property rights. They don't want to collaborate with me. And that's what I'm looking for, someone to collaborate with me. Just, I want this to be right. So I'm just been kind of doing my thing, just wait for the right opportunity.
All right. Well, if people want to find out about your book, do they go to a website or Amazon?
Yeah. Can I show an image of my book?
Sure, you can pick it up and show it to us.
There you go.
Morrison Land, Riding Out the Storm by Floyd Bocox. Again, do they go to your website or to Amazon?
Yeah, it's all over. They go to the website. I just reestablished the new website, morrisonland.com or cliffmorrison.com. Both links are together. And they get the book. I got some really cool, like that poster behind me. I got posters I got about 4 or 5 different posters that will be authentically signed by me, the original stuff. And the music, nobody can sell the CDs. I got that. So I got hard copy CDs also on the website for sale. But yeah, for the book, and you go on Amazon Music, just tell Alexa, play Cliff Morrison, the Lizard Sun Band, and you'll hear all its music and stuff. And then the book in itself, yeah, on Amazon, Walmart, Target, Barnes and Noble, and Kindle too. So, that's some channels there. But if they want to get a book signed by me, you got to go to my website, and I'll personally sign the book. And that's what I got going on right now anyway.
All right. Well, before we wrap it up here, is there one last message that you would like to give us about Cliff or Jim or anything else? It's
kind of sad that what happened here. I'm being honest. especially for the band members. They worked their butt off just to get where they're at. And I really had some really great musicians there. The lead guitarist, I mean, all of them. They were let down by Cliff. You know what I mean? And we had it there. We did all our work. I did my job. As far as getting them to where they need to get, and I did it. And it just happened to go that way. So it is now for me to make a movie out of this, and we do have a lot of content to make a series out of that also. So the way the platforms are going right now, and I see this, in a series content, you know what I mean? It's everybody staying home and not going to the theaters no more. And that's my agenda right now, is to get this into a series. I mean, Morrison Land would be huge, big time.
Well, Floyd, I wish you massive success with your book. I hope it gets turned into a Netflix series. I think it would be amazing. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, or Cliff's story, with us. Thank you so much, Floyd.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, Floyd, thank you, and I wish you the best, brother. You take care.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, big round of applause for Floyd. All right, let me put on some background music here. Okay, so once again, just to let you guys know what's coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow's guest is Tim Tactics. I've had him on twice before. And we talked about how you can contact ETs with a Ouija board. We talked about how reptilian ETs like to dance, among other things. So I hope you will enjoy that video tomorrow. I also did a video today with Staticom, and that is like the most advanced idea of like a, what do they call those, a ghost box or whatever. But instead of using using a radio, just cycling through radio channels to create the white noise, they've created something using like a white noise generator. So there's no words in there. It's purely voices from the other side, and it's pretty amazing. You hear conversations going on back and forth. It's pretty wild, and they use a lot of filters. They can filter the voices coming through the white noise, so it's like EVPs and spirit boxes taken to the next level, and it's in real time. Whereas EVPs, they just record and go back and listen, and then with the spirit boxes, they're kind of, the scientific community kind of looks down on it because it could be just random words coming through the radio. So if you are into that stuff, I think you will really enjoy this video. It's pretty cool. All right, our next guest, and I did put at the top of my video thumbnail, it says Jim Morrison and ETs. So my second guest is Carla. Let me pull up Carla's information. She was there. I needed to let her in. Let me see, 2 participants. Okay, she's there. Carla was a guest. She was on podcast 1018. She's a novelist. She is a light language communicator and ET contactee. She's given presentations for MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, and other organizations about light language and using it as a tool for ET contact. She uses her experiences with the sky people to inspire messaging of our interconnectedness. And so when was that? 1018, and we're 11. I don't know if it was about a year ago or so we had her on, but we're having her back, and she's going to update us with what she's up to. So let's bring Carla on. And I think she's also a channeler as well. So I'll have to kind of review what Carla is up to. And I guess it's taking a minute to bring her on. Let's see. Oh, there she comes. Carla.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Carla, how's it going?
Awesome to see you again.
Yeah,
really well.
Likewise. Nice to see you. When were we together last time? I couldn't remember.
It had to have been maybe 6, 8 months ago, but I was really looking forward to seeing you again. I kind of felt like we hit it off. So
Oh,
let me,
great. Well, thank you. Yeah, we did. What,
yeah.
you know, please forgive me because I have a daily show and I didn't even have time to review what we talked about last time. So, what did we talk about last time?
And I totally respect the high volume of people you connect, and it's awesome what you do.
Thank you.
Um, we talked about Sensei, the sky person. At the time, I communicated from them and shared sky people experiences. And now I'm a little more gelled and understanding, my company has grown. And I teach building dimensions, I teach consciousness writing, and I teach light language, and I'm releasing a novel. So I've really grown since the time that we met with my understanding of trying to make some of the sky person experiences relatable to the average person who's never had them. And that was
That's okay. When you say sky person, does that mean ET or alien for you? Is that what we're saying here?
yes, yes. It's a word from Ireland. That's what they call extraterrestrials. I know some Irish people who taught me that term, along with the sky people I worked with, that making them more relatable as people,
Hmm.
maybe different along in the evolutional chain of where humanity is, but we share less than 1% DNA for most of them. Is the what I've been with the sky people I've met. I've met some in person, which
Wow.
just blows people.
All
I know,
right,
blows
let's.
people
All right,
away.
I don't know if we talked about that last time, but even if we did, let's talk about that again. You've met an ET in real life here on planet Earth in waking consciousness.
In waking
All
consciousness, and
right,
I've been with
how
other
did that
people.
happen?
I met with another light language communicator in San Diego, and we met a sky person that trilocated, and they looked different in each avatar. And we communicated and had such a blissed out, peaceful experience. There was 0% fear. We had many breakthroughs as understanding one another and our friendship, along with those closest to us. So, you know how many people have a near death experience? For some people, ET contact can be as significant as a near death experience.
Sure, yeah, I could see that. Now
And definitely in person.
you said you met them as an avatar. I'm not really clear on that.
Oh, avatar meaning body. So they trilocated, one star person trilocated it into three people, which in and of itself is enough for some people. I think if they have trauma, they won't be able to really remember or grok what happened. But they had been working with me years telepathically to heal my body, heal my system as a holistic, from a holistic viewpoint. My whole body was healed. I have had some things happen where I'm challenged as a human still. Do you know what I mean? Just when I think I cleared all the healing, there's stuff happened again, but
I guess there's
they
just
worked with
layers and
me.
layers.
Oh, Jeff, you do not know.
Hmm.
But the coolest thing is I worked with the Veludian sky people, and they taught me the circular sacred geometry and the human anatomy. They gave me visual light language transmissions. And some of this, I don't know that the average person can really hear this because it's so outside of their paradigm shifts, but I feel like your audience can handle this stuff.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
of course, my audience can handle anything. I think this podcast is probably is the most woo-woo out of all of them, and we talk about stuff that for a lot of people is way out there. And so, yeah, go ahead. I mean, there's nothing that's too extreme for us.
Oh,
Unless,
that's awesome.
well, except some of the language you have to be careful about. I don't know what you're going to talk about, but it's just sometimes there can be problems with the language. Nothing
That's
up
what makes
the,
it.
the content or the ideas and the subject matter is not way out there. Just for sometimes I have to, ask. I don't know where you're going. I'm just when all of a sudden we started thinking extreme, and I'm thinking, we make sure our language is not too extreme.
I agree, because we want people to view it, and if we say, well, we're not being recorded right now, are we?
We're live. You're live with
Oh, we're
almost
live.
200 people here. So there's no
Oh,
recording.
great.
This is a live show. You're here. If anybody are you okay with people asking you questions?
Oh, this is even cooler.
Yeah.
I'm actually just so moved to be joining with 200 people.
Yeah,
You
hopefully
huge.
it'll pick up more. Yeah, so yeah, if you're okay with questions, I'll let the audience ask questions in the chat.
I can't wait to hear these questions.
All
Yeah.
right, so if you guys want to ask questions, make sure you type it in all caps so I'll be able to see it. But yeah, we're live, and my Saturday night show is a live thing. It used to be live and like let anybody come and share it, but I couldn't control it because people would come and just do crazy, insane stuff, and it would just ruin the whole show. So now I just invite specific guests like you to come on, and that way it's. But you know, it's still kind of spontaneous. You know what I mean? Like what we're doing here is, you know, I don't know where we're going next, but you know what I mean.
Oh,
I try to
this
keep it
is exciting.
spontaneous. Yeah, yeah. So
Did you get the swordfish tagine recipe, Jeff? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Probably I did. I just don't have a tagine is the problem. I need to get a tagine.
You can cook it in a it's called a clay oven. It's I wrote it on the email. You can cook it in other pots. And if you or your wife cook or anybody else around
we cook
you,
a lot.
It's got really specific instructions. Email me with any questions about the tagine, okay?
All right, now I think did you used to be married to a Moroccan man?
That is accurate.
That is it. That's what's helping you. When you said tagine, our last podcast started coming back. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So wait, let me go back to this real quick because you had contact with this ET that had trilocated. Did it look like a human or look like a gray or something else?
It looked like a human, and what differentiated their DNA, that 1% differentiation in the DNA, is they can look different melanin. So they can appear, say, like, you know, this kind of color skin, but to my friend, they appeared to have a completely different color skin. You know, they appeared Arab. So, but the same body or avatar appeared to my friend one way and to me a different way. And we all know that's non-local communication. And we also know it's based on, in sculpture, there's tensegrity. Buckminster Fulster taught about that concept in the human body. And that's what I worked with the Veludian species regarding light language transmissions to understand the circular languaging in the human anatomy. So it's been a fascinating ride to understand myself and then steward others to understand this wisdom.
All right, I got questions coming in. What is the difference between angels and demons and avatars and UFOs?
That's a fascinating question. I would say perception, culture, background, and somebody may see an angel or a demon, and another person, let's just say a scientist working in quantum mechanics, they might just see somebody in the singularity of the universe and see it as communication in the field, is what they call it, the field of resonance.
So it's all the same thing, is what you're saying. It just depends on how you interpret it culturally.
That's my personal experience after 4+ years of Sky People experiences. Now, before that, I had a different interpretation. So I said to my Sky People, I'd like to learn about their culture. I'm coming from a more anthropological intrigue of culture, and said, I don't mean to offend Sky People with my questions. And they've been very steady for 4 years to answer my countless questions. Sometimes I do offend them, and we get through it. We talk about it. And now they're actually believe more so in the divinity within the individual, this particular Sky People I work with. But one of the Sky People I met does believe in angels. So it just depends on the Sky person, just like a human. It's unique to the individual. And UFO has...
Well, it sounds like... Yeah, go ahead.
The UFO has a fascinating answer, because many of the UFOs we see here, not always, can be non-local communication, where the physical UFO is a projection in quantum physics, where it might be in another planet, but the image is received here.
Like a hologram.
And I want people to... Yes, exactly. That's the basics of the quantum field, the limitless, that we're all connected in this quantum field. Exactly. And so many UFOs, there are physical UFOs. I'm not debating that. But many we see recent history that is non-local communication. We're not seeing a physical. We're seeing the consciousness and communication between us all in this quantum field.
All right. Let me catch to another one. The questions are rolling in. I don't know if we really covered it, but they're asking again, or they're asking, she's asking, who and how did you meet the sky people?
I had a vast number of requests before it really happened. So I contacted CSETI in 2001 with my Dell laptop and let them have some of my bandwidth to work on contact. And then I did have contact in 2015 with another friend where we saw a UFO at Masjid. We were startled and it was a fascinating experience. It was a
At where?
triangular craft.
At where? Masjid?
Masjid means mosque.
At a mosque?
Yes.
Wow. At where?
In
In
Torrance,
Morocco? Oh,
California.
in California, not Morocco.
And I contacted George Knapp. I'm sure you're familiar
Yeah,
with
of
him.
course. Yeah.
I contacted him about it. I said, this is just wild, this experience. And at the time, I had fears surrounding it. And then 2020, I dimensionally traveled what I perceive as bilocating onto a craft and had on a solid UFO had an experience that just changed my life. That experience.
Now, what is the connection between light language and your ET contact?
Oh, that's a great question. Light language was taught to me telepathically by a sky person. May I give you an example?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But to answer your question, light language allows people from far reaching distance, let's say a million light years away, to communicate with somebody on Earth. So it's outside of time and space. We have a shared now if we're communicating with somebody a million light years away, and it's a multi layered form of communication that allows us many harmonics to feel good. And it's based on sacred geometry, light, sound, and love. However, it's also a very practical form of communication. One light language, digital expression, one symbol can hold over the computing equivalent of 500 books. So it's I suspect, I don't know this for a fact, I suspect in the future it will be kind of a mainstream thing with all this stuff going on, with more awareness of outer space and interstellar communities, and maybe us expanding our awareness outside of Earth. That's my sense. It's a very technical form of communication, but it's also many people use it for spiritual reasons. I use it for both. And it has everything to do with the cultures with sky people who do have friends in different planets. It's a practical form of communication. I'll give you an example, and I'm just gonna teach something to everybody if they're open to it. If they go like this with their hands, they can find if there is something that needs to be cleared within them, this simple task. If your fingers align, that means you're in harmony. And if you go like this and there's a little bit of resistance, that's the biofield scientists call it. And there's some kind of disharmony with the chi. But if we just work on it, we can find a balance within ourselves before doing light language. I'll give you a quick 30-second light language communication. And in that, you'll feel base 12, base 20, and base 60 math coming together, found in many ancient civilizations on Earth and in the human body, in nature. Many legacy banking has base 10 math right now, and media, but we're leaning more towards these circular languaging, which is what light language is.
So, whatever you just said to us, or you communicated with us, did that mean anything to you? Can you unpack that at all?
Yes, light language would be what I just communicated, would mean something for you, Jeff, for example, and your wife. It would mean something on month 1 differently than it would mean month 2, month 3, month 4. So it's languaging that has stacked communication, and it has different meanings outside of time and space. And that helps with interstellar communities to communicate in a practical fashion. What I gave was a simple form of communication, a blessing, and a kind of like, we come in peace, that kind of thing. I personally can interpret light language into linear languaging, the only catch is it means something differently in a different time. And many people use it for harmonics and sonic harmony. And that allows them to relax and to feel that base 12, base 20, base 60 math and harmonics that are found all throughout the earth in ancient sites, cathedrals, etc. That feeling to connect to our divinity and that feel good feeling we have. It's a very practical form to also allow us to not feel disharmony within our bodies. So I actually did light language before meeting here so that I could meet you without feeling nervous. You know what I mean? It's a practical tool for me
That's
too.
great. Well, here's
Even
another.
though I'm excited to see you, Jeff.
Well, thank you. Thank you, and we're excited to have you. And let me give you another question here. Is it possible that an unawakened person may misinterpret an angel as a demon or gray ET when they're merely projecting their own inward heart condition, while spiritual awakened people see angels?
That's a fascinating question. That is based of I think that heart condition, I think that we hold so much in our heart for starters. So that's fascinating that they brought up a heart condition. Thank you for asking that question to the kind person who asked that. The heart regulates so much in our systems, our mind, body, spirit. Um, I think that if somebody, it's not my belief. I would say if somebody sees an angel, I had a person who I worked with who said ETs are basically ethereal beings with sentient bodies, whereas angels don't, they are light bodies. And for some people, angels are a connection to the divinity of within them. And if somebody misinterprets us as a, let's say, a demon or something running negative energies, my question to that is, are you open to the possibility that we are using consciousness facilitation to understand where we project evil versus good? What if we lost the story of the villain and understood perception? That experience could mean something in this year 2024. It could mean something totally different with 20 years of spiritual growth in the year 2044. So what we believe and perceive, you know, my dad is 90, and the things that he taught me over the years, they mean so much to me over the years. You know, it's that's an example of communication, and experiences mean different over time and space. Angels and demons, that's a belief system. I'm open to everybody's perceptions. I personally have worked through a lot of good versus evil through my consciousness classes. I've taken over like $100,000 worth of consciousness classes to understand what I'm doing in my life to create disharmony. And I shared with you, I sometimes can do that. So before I walk into a cafe, I'll pulse my breath to make sure the energy I'm communicating with the pipes in the cafe, the electricity, along with the people, the beautiful employees making the food, along with the electricity, that I'm respecting that harmony and that electricity, the whole field of that cafe, I am in harmony with prior to stepping into the cafe. And I want to not add disharmony to where I'm entering. And I really practice that in the home. And that consciousness training has taught me how much I impact others and others impact me energetically. Many people are communicating with each other, sometimes in disharmony, but they're well-meaning. They're not realizing, and maybe they're not aware of what we're bringing.
Upon doing that, before you entered the cafe, how would entering be different if you didn't do it? Like, what would you notice different afterwards?
I love that question, because it would be maybe speaking louder than everybody wants. If I don't pulse it, I might come with a louder volume in my voice that's not conducive to everybody. For example, when somebody has disabilities on Earth, they actually are genius savant at understanding energy fields. I don't see disabilities as disabilities. I see them as superpowers. And that's where light language has allowed many families to understand let's just say a child that's considered to have a disability, they're holding the energy for that entire house because they're fluent in energy by necessity. And it's what's fascinating is the people who are, let's just say, not having a disability, they are walking around maybe not realizing they're creating disharmony in the energetic fields. And so this harmony we're all learning on earth right now, to energetically respect one another and honor one another.
Hmm. How did the sky people teach you how to build dimensions?
Oh, I love this one because I want to share with, it started with, started to see photonic expressions, meaning light, come out of my heart with light language. Near the pineal gland, it would go like here, and I would see photonic, real photons. I saw metallic silver with blue, gold, red appear out of thin air. Many of the dimensions that I built were those colors, and that would be equivalent to the ethers, what many people refer to as the ethers. I worked with sky people where we would paint in the ethers with what would be considered the light body hand. And then it took about 2 years, but then it started to show up here on the physical planes. I had beautiful experiences where it felt like a performance. It was a play. And my friend said, "Did you tape it?" I was like, it was such an experience. I didn't even think to tape it because it was a mystical shamanic experience for us on this earth plane. But maybe for sky people, that's their norm. That's just normal. And they're sharing what we are capable of drawing in and materializing out of thin air, more than we could imagine, really. If you think about it, we cry. That's water coming out of thin air. You know, we're capable of much, humans.
All right, let me catch up with some of the questions here. Let's scroll back through. How do you discern between the spirit of God and the spirit of humanity, and between spiritual awakening and false religious spirit?
Oh wow, okay. I love that question because I actually had an experience with sky people. I want to answer it with a true experience answer. I believe in all of it. I started to not relate to myself as one individuated spirit, and the sky person taught me what it felt like to feel so connected to humanity on earth, to feel part of that one spirit, to feel so connected. I had about 5 minutes where I'm like, I don't feel separate from anybody. You know, I didn't relate to my soul. I related to our soul. You know, like, are there 200 of us here, or is, whatever number?
There's 211, including me,
So
which 212.
Us 212 would be sharing one field, or that one spirit, feeling this interconnectedness and this no separation feeling. It felt pretty blissed out. It felt pretty good. And I said, I want to live like this the rest of my life. That's how I want to retire. And I'm working for that for my retirement. I want to live like that feeling of not feeling disconnected from humanity. It's a beautiful sense of different spirits, respecting the creatures and all that.
I was thinking the other day that what if all of us here are ETs that look nothing like humans, and we're playing this game, and the game is so well done that we can't even we are so wrapped up in the game and completely identifying ourselves as humans that we would have no idea that we were lizard people or whatever else. You know what I mean?
And how did you reach that conception?
That was just an imagination that popped into my brain at some point throughout the day.
Because I do wonder, really, because I have memories of sky people lifetimes. I do wonder, many people identify as coming here on earth as a starseed, and a lot of us remember other lifetimes as sky people, and then other sky people check up on each other. I'm open to what we can do here, if with that awareness that you're talking about, that awareness field you kind of created. That's amazing. Yeah.
Well, it was just a thought. How do people clear themselves energetically prior to ET contact? I guess that would help them if they can clear themselves. So how would they do that?
Yes, that harmony going like this is a great start. there's many hemisync videos on YouTube.
Hmm.
Monroe Institute releases these hemisync. It's incorporated because it combines lambda, alpha, theta, and different brain waves, as opposed to many binaural beats only have two brain waves.
Hmm.
I do stand by these hemisync because they integrate these brain waves and they allow us to touch base with levels of higher consciousness within us, which many sky people, I can't speak for all, but many of the sky people I've beautifully met, I noticed they have these very higher levels of consciousness levels and layers, but the ones I've worked with have been very considerate and very accommodating to me as I heal these different layers of myself that needed healing, and they've been um, helping us on Earth understand our vast capabilities as humanity. And there's much hope for us. In my opinion, we are massively gifted, especially when we live in these higher level realms of thinking we can do just about anything. A little interesting point, Jeff. CERN and everybody else, all 212 of us, CERN lists that the atomic structure, one atomic structure has 12 dimensions. What's fascinating, if we start to imagine, just for the sake of it, imagination, let's speculate. If there's a 13th dimension that integrates all of one atomic structure, it's unlimited. And if we think about our human body has 700 million atoms on average. If we are at a resonance of understanding a harmony within ourselves, and we can reach that resonance of being in touch with our unlimited capabilities, much beauty happens. And the resonance it's here for us. It's readily available. It's free. It's amazing what we can do.
All right, let me catch another question here. I have a friend that is a charismatic Pentecostal. Say that in the Bible is mentioned speaking in tongues. Is speaking in tongues the same thing as light language?
Many participants that I've worked with are very gifted at tongues. I think that is open. I don't know the answer to that one. The participants I work with who did tongues, they are naturals at light language. They are mystic in nature, and that gift has carried with them from the churches where they worship. It's open to interpretation if tongues and light language are the same thing. I'm open to the results are very similar, where mystical experiences happen. We touch base with that unlimited aspect. So I've done an hour of light language. It felt like 5 minutes. And scientists call that the real, not real. It's where we lose track of the curvature of time and space, and we start to feel not as locked into that game you were referring to, Jeff, that game, figuring out the game. We're locked into this vastness, this quantum field of anything can happen. So I want to answer directly that I don't know the answer to that. I have had participants say it feels the same.
All right. In the beginning, I mentioned that you are a novelist. So you are also working on a book called The Timekeeper, I believe. Is it out yet? And what is your book about?
Thank you so much, Jeff. I'm so pleased. I'm so proud of this project. It is releasing July 5th, 2024.
All right,
Just a
next
matter
week.
of, yeah. And if I can give a little blurb of it,
Sure.
is that okay, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to put it in these sky people experiences into relatable terms for anybody who has never had a sky person experience. So it's a fiction book, and the main character has goes deep sea fishing, and he interfaces with a futuristic AI that allows him to get onto Zoom and talk to his friend group from 3 years in the past. And he starts to work with time and space through Zoom. And I thought that might be the most relatable way to explain how much freedom we have with time and space, humans. I postulated that if we could just do it on Zoom, if we could visit ourselves 3 years in the past, would that be possible to the reader? And I was trying to kind of reach my family in Virginia to try to build a bridge for them to understand my Sky People experiences, which they've never had it. So I wanted to explain to them my experiences, but with respect to their belief systems, with respect to their world they live in. Because I've had hundreds of paradigm shifts after that much beautiful Sky People contact. I'm a different person, but in a good way.
Can you tell us
And
about some of your biggest shifts?
Wow, I've had so many. Okay, a car changing colors in front of me was the biggest change. But another change was, well, that's just a beginner one, if I were to be honest. I've had a lot of experiences where I used my chi to turn the garage up. I forgot the clicker, but that was from training from Sky People to understand electromagnetism and the power of what scientists call the biofield, the electrical field that can be measured in the human body. One of the most poetic experiences was a Sky person said, watch this physically in El Segundo, California. He said, watch this ocean, look at this wave. And the wave went like spiraling. It was a huge, massive wave. And then they sent the energy from the wave into my body. And that's how I started really understanding how powerful loving energy is. That energy is from a plant. I can step near a wildflower and feel the warmth of the root reach me. I can feel the chi, the energy. If scientists can measure some of these things, it's not that outlandish. It's just many indigenous cultures reach these shamanic states. But any of us can. We all have true shamanic natures to understand this, the earth where we live and the beauty of it, the resonance of the earth.
Well, besides light language, do you remote view?
Oh yeah, I want to share this one, Jeff. I'm gifted at remote viewing, and I use it because of my experiences with Sky People. I use it for personal reasons with the utmost honor, valor, and integrity. I do not use it to ever spy on anybody. I would never go against somebody's sovereignty or free will. That's a big one for me. I don't agree with anybody impinging upon somebody's sovereignty, right? I use it for nature and to feel connected to my divinity. That's what I use it for. Recently, I worked with a gorilla in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and I remote viewed a gorilla, and I felt her lose her babies, and it was so sad. I was weeping because I could feel her loss. I felt her mourning, and I showed her a baby to hold, a baby gorilla, and I felt her connect to her loss. And then I'm going to be really, if I may be vulnerable with you, Jeff, then I felt a connection to being a mother. I felt a connection to my mom. I felt a deep connection to the matrilineal side of both sides of my family. I am divorced from the Moroccan side, but we're very close. Even though my daughter's father and I divorced, I'm very close with the Moroccan side of the family. And she's a very gifted songwriter with light language, by the way. But this experience with the gorilla allowed me to understand much of myself as a mother. I am 50 years old, and a lot goes on as a mother that is beautiful. There's so much going on, and I want to give as much love as I can. And after that experience, I was able to express many deep emotions of love, caring, compassion, and empathy that previously I had not. And it was a Sky person that guided me for the remote viewing. So that was pretty cool too. Yeah.
Do you see UFOs? And if so, often?
I get visits in my house. Yeah, I do. And sometimes it's a dot in way up high, and I get telepathic communication. This is an interesting share. I've had them beautifully interface with my kitty pie, the Siamese cat, and they said, pick up the cat. I said, okay, what's going on? I got the telepathic communication, and then they led me outside, and there was UFOs above, and then they're at a distance, the UFOs though. I think they're, I would say, pretty high up. They look like a light. I have training from CE5, the MUFON Orange County CE5, where I received my training to not conflate UFOs with satellites, which some people mistake them for. There's an app you can look at to understand satellites and the difference of UFOs. Many different apps that let you fact check if it's a satellite, by the way.
All right. Well, what do you, let me ask you this. Can you tell us about your experience receiving scents and sounds and electrical currents that were non-local?
I love this one, this experiences that I've had with non-local communication. My favorite is being sent the scent of vanilla. And I was like, I telepathically communicated with Skype. I'm like, did you send me vanilla? That smells so good. I was like, that's a scent I can handle. And many people associate the squashies or Bigfoot as sending them. I am
Squashies.
somebody who has the biggest respect. Many indigenous call them squashies. I have the biggest respect for Bigfoot fans. There is an amazing West Coast cultural anthropologist who has a book out about Canada and Washington, where they explain the cultural anthropological oral history of Bigfoot. And that's where, yeah, it's interesting, that stuff.
Do you think Bigfoot or big, I don't know how you'd say it, plural, are they ETs?
This is where I'm gonna be honest. I have wondered. I have wondered if it's a sky person shape-shifting using genetic materials to shape-shift. I know that is so out there. I also know for amazing Bigfoot fans, I am not fluent. So they would better be able to answer that with an honest answer. I have wondered that because I have seen sky people shapeshift in front of me. They can shapeshift into many different things with their sciences combining organic materials, etc. But honestly, don't know. I don't know a lot about Bigfoot. I am fascinated by the indigenous people's relationship with Bigfoot and the oral history that spans millennia that we have.
Can you tell us more about the Veludians? I think that's what you called them.
Yes,
Where are
I'm
they
so
from?
honored to work with the Veludians. I have been told they live over 1 billion light years away, which if you were to Google that, I don't think it would fact check, but I just trust the communication that I received with them. And they're very medicine minded, using the natural formations in nature. For example, they had me do a subtle energy with my hands like this to work with the subtle energies in my hand. And they said, where do you feel pain? And I said, right here, like a subtle pain. And they had me work with it. And they taught me that the most minuscule energy or movement can actually work with the communication from the pain. So I'm not talking about healing, I'm talking about communication. And I went like this, and then I felt all these sounds come out of the sacred geometry in my endo and exoskeleton. Right here it started and went all the way up. It was a fascinating training to understand the most subtle movement could have that much of an impact. I mean, it was a lot of noises it made too. And again, that's light language, sacred geometry, light, sound, and love. It was their culture, the Veludian society.
Now, isn't there some kind of new technique or something that you're into where a person can experience brain ecstasy?
Yes, I teach that we have okay, there's, to give a long and short answer. Lambda, theta, alpha, delta waves can integrate, and we can understand. There's $100 pair of headphones you can buy on Amazon that allow you to see your brain waves on your computer. And that's a great way to get familiar with understanding that we have actually much more communication with our brain waves than we might realize. And the integration is the key part.
So you're seeing the
And then
brain waves on your computer. Are they binaural beats? Like you're visually seeing a binaural beat, or what? How does that
it's kind
work?
of like it kind of looks like the sine and cosine, and it lets you know the name of the brain waves, and it lets you see it here. It's
Mm,
not something a neuroscientist would use, but it's available on Amazon. This kind of understanding to interact with
okay.
the understanding of our impact on our brain waves. What I learned about the ecstasy and the bliss is I learned to work with sounds outside of me. Let's just say somebody is mowing the lawn or they're using the edger. I started to feel the sound, and I used the sound to work with the brain waves that I saw on the computer screen.
Okay.
And it allowed me to integrate them. And I really didn't need the headphones and the computer. I started to play with creating a way to communicate with my brain waves. I would put a little photonic expression of a spring into um, my head and pull it straight and taut to try to arrive to the alpha brain waves. So I started to communicate with myself and started to feel like I had more of a say in having my fiery energy be more stable, so to speak, or calm.
Mm.
In I'm somebody who can soak up communication from a lot of people from their filter, from these sky people experiences. So I learned how to integrate it and to stay, level headed.
So do you believe you are a star seed? Like prior to this incarnation, you were an ET somewhere else, and you just came down here to experience being a human?
Yes, I want to answer that honestly. If I was at a dinner table at a restaurant in LA, I don't feel I could always comfortably answer it the way I am with you. Hi, little doggy. Yeah, I do think I'm a star seed. I have memories. Hi, little guy. I have memories of a Palladian lifetime where they put I had pearls put on my vertebrae, and do have true memories. Look at this gorgeous dog. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Why would you have pearls put on your vertebrae?
In some Eastern philosophies, it's symbolic. And for me, it represented, I could feel what was happening in the ceremony. I was becoming uh, like equivalent to what would be a magi or a shaman at the moment. And I was on a UFO, and it was a beautiful memory. It was very sacred. I was very surprised. I think the pearls symbolize the experience that happens with the growth of a pearl, that we have that inside of us, the slow, so to speak, the slow process it takes in nature for the spirit to expand and become aware of everything. That experience when we come to earth, it's a little bit like a pearl. It is a process, it's natural, it's nothing new. And that's how I interpreted it at the time.
Do you think that you want to be a human again, or this is your only time passing through Earth and you're moving on?
I struggle with that one, Jeff. I struggle with that one. I sometimes have an inner, what am I doing here?
Hmm.
Sometimes it feels harsh, the
Hmm.
energies. And then I feel like I want to be here to be a part of entering into the golden ages. It happens every 12,500 years cycle on Earth.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
struggle with that one. I'm going to be
You
vulnerable.
are you
I don't
saying?
know what
Do you believe that we're going to be entering the golden age soon?
I do. I feel it happening. I see all that base 12 math happening for around the globe. It's
Yeah.
actually happening a lot with quantum computing.
You keep talking about the different base type of math. I don't understand that. What is that? Like base? What does
Yeah.
that mean? A base 12 math?
It's okay. So we have 10 hands. I mean, 10 fingers,
Hmm.
and base 10 math was used for us to count things and do that things. But it can create closed loop systems, base 10 math, but it's very effective. Base 12 math is more open loop systems. For example, the punishment model is a closed loop system. Things just keep getting worse if we keep using the punishment model. Whereas base 12 math is an open loop system. If we think of somebody who has uh, energy on a farm where they're not reliant on anything outside of them, that's an example of base 12 math, where it's a naturally occurring open loop system that is in the natural formations, not reliant on exterior. But if you also think of a more better example would be ancient Egypt, uses base 12 math. It's a vastly inspiring experience. It's set up for that feeling of euphoria, ecstatic bliss, those brainwaves we were talking about. And ancient Egypt used that all throughout society, which means that it include these open loop systems all throughout the systems and structures in society. So something as simple as going to the grocery store, it would be effortless and easy. Whereas I'm not going to get into the banking, but you know what I mean? Like it was a little easier for everybody to feel life is easy, life is effortless. Um, Indigenous use those base 12, base 20, base 60 maths historically. These ancient societies carry that in their interdependence as a culture, as a people.
All right. Again, your book is called The Timekeeper, right?
Yes.
And her book is it under your name? Carla?
Yes, Carla
Carla,
Fischi Lazim.
Carla Fischi Lazim. Is it out for pre-sale yet on Amazon?
It is available for pre-sale.
All
Yes.
right, good. So if people want to check it out, or do you have a website where if people want to learn more about it there instead?
I don't have a website, but I would like to mention it's under the American Contemporary Fiction genre.
Okay.
On Amazon Kindle.
Well, it sounds like that your book is based.
And then I'm under LinkedIn.
All right. We're having a little bit of interference. Maybe do you energetically interfere with things?
Yeah, this is classic UFO experiencer stuff. I do. I want to learn though to respect my energy. I'm not meaning I will come to be maybe work on my energetic field. Yes, that's skipping between base 10 and base 12 math. That's what I'm doing on that. I don't mean to. It's not my intention. So I've learned how to build a bridge between this base 10 and base 12 math and just work with the chi. Is the audio better?
Yeah, no, it just every now and then it kind of pops in and kind of like cuts out and does weird stuff. So I just was saying. By the way, there are a lot more people here now. So if anybody is new and didn't hear me say this earlier, if you would like to ask Carla a question, feel free to just type it in the chat, but type it in all caps. That way it's easier to spot between the regular chat that's going on. So it sounds like to me that your book is basically kind of based on your experiences, but you made it into a fiction story so it could be more acceptable. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, because our galactic communities, we have maybe percentage of humanity is galactic minded, but I would rather reach people to feel the awe and wonder of being a human and to understand our vast nature of possibilities, that we can achieve beautiful solutions of the structures and formations on Earth and live in peace. I am working on being peaceful within myself. And it's been a great voyage to write it, to understand, because it's the theme about dualism. The theme is pen is mighty as the sword. And I studied plotting for 5 years with a retired Hollywood writer. I learned the 12 acts, and then I started to make the 13 acts to be more unity conscious minded. And I do teach that class about consciousness writing, by the way. People can contact me on LinkedIn if they want.
All right, that's great. How do I get a sky person to be my guest on one of my podcasts? Can you put
Excellent. Have you strike me as somebody who you strike me as somebody who could. Can I talk to you separately? I'll set something up. Would
yeah,
you be
if you
open to
got it,
that?
I'll be open to get. Yeah. By the way, someone wants to know if you're an abductee as well as a contactee. Would you say you've been abducted?
No, I have complete compassion for anybody who has faced that. I know there's many people that MUFON works with who have encountered these experiences, and I honor with compassion, love for those who have experienced that. The sky people I worked with, actually, they explained to me that my consciousness levels will need to expand for them to work with me. And we worked on it telepathically first. Then I met them in person here on Earth, which maybe there are many sky people who learned from whatever, happened in the past, is my hope. That but I do think it's important. I worked through much trauma to heal, and not perfect yet, but they worked slowly with me to work through some things. um, I also think many shamanic experiences happen through consciousness. When you see somebody levitating and they're right below a UFO, that famous image, that's a very famous poster. Sometimes I think people experience incredibly shamanic experiences, but they don't have a reference to fit it in a box or a container. I absolutely will. I always tell people to have safe ET contact. I won't let just anybody in my house, right? Like
Mhm. Well, you said safe ET contact. Are you saying that not all ETs are benevolent?
I believe, just like people, you walk down an alley, you gotta watch yourself. Simple answer. By the way, Zenka Caro
Yeah, I know
of
Zenka. I think I've had
Starseed
Zenka.
Academy,
I'm pretty sure I've had Zenka as a guest. She the one that
she's
bends?
amazing.
Does she bend spoons?
Yes, she's
Yeah.
amazing. If somebody wants to learn ET contact, Zenka Caro's amazing Unity Consciousness nonprofit, Starseed Academy, is offering these amazing classes. I
Mm.
recommend her amazing safe ET contact she teaches, and it's very loving. She teaches the heart centered, and her team that she they teach a heart centered ET contact. So when we reach higher levels, Anando, bliss, love, joy, we don't carry fear. So if we do ET contact in a loving presence, in a harmonic way, that allows for safer ET contact because we're not in a state of fear.
You know what would be really cool is if, you were talking about talking on Zoom through time. If I could get somebody to be my guest on Zoom that's from the future, a couple hundred years ahead of us, that would be really cool as well, right?
Oh, if
A
anybody's
time
going to get
travel
the
Zoom.
contact, time travel seems that if anybody's going to get it, it's going to be you, because
Yeah.
you're open-minded, you're reaching people. And I've had some weird experiences that I just don't know how to explain to people. I don't even know how to. Sometimes I'm unrelatable to share my experiences. I've seen with okay, but it could be explained by base 10 to base 12 math, not connecting. We have had weird Zooms where somebody from Chile or anywhere, I'm just going to pick a country, Canada. I'm sitting here in Southern California. Somebody from Canada pops up on a Zoom, and we're like, it's not a glitch though. It's not what's the word? A glitch or a hack. But the thing is, we were both into sky people, and we've had these naturally forming occurrences. My speculation is, Jeff, around the Earth, many galactic-minded humans are having these amazing connections. We have support too. But what would be the first thing you would ask somebody 100 years in the future on Zoom?
I don't know. I just thought about it as during this podcast today. I actually haven't, seriously sat down and thought up questions to ask, but, I guess they wouldn't reveal. Well, you know what is fascinating, and I'm going to kind of plug my show coming up. I have my Monday night show is these people have developed the spirit box where you can talk to people on the other side, which is the most advanced ones out there. And it's in real time, and they ask questions, and the people on the other side will say, I'm not allowed to tell you that. So there's a lot of stuff about the future,
Oh my
and a
God!
lot of stuff
Oh my gosh,
they ask that they're not allowed to know, because that would spoil your experience here. And what was even funny was we were talking,
lucky me! I haven't been told
and
that.
what was kind of funny was we were talking, and he said, I guess somebody on the other side said something, and then another voice popped in and said, "You idiot! Why did you tell him that?" So
Uh-oh.
yeah, so I don't know. I would love to know the future, but I would, that's what kind of came to mind. I mean, you would ask anybody from the future what's going to happen in the next few years, but maybe they wouldn't reveal it, because then that would spoil our experience. I don't know.
the particular sky people, they have said to me they don't want to ruin my experience. Yeah,
Hmm.
and they don't want to ruin the destiny or the. Well, we have a say in what we create and do in an everyday basis. We floss our teeth, we brush our teeth. That's a choice.
Right.
But I think they were very, very diligent and careful and fastidious in nuanced precision that it took over 4 years for me to understand the technologies. And it was very, very, very specific that maybe not every portion of human society can handle the society technologies that I
Yeah.
interfaced with.
You
And
have
I
to
was
go
like,
back.
I understand that. I'll be careful what I.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm saying you're going to have to go back and listen to this because sometimes your audio stream gets whacked out and it almost sounds like we're talking to you in the future.
Yes, I interface. Okay, please, Jeff, this is going to sound so out there. I interface with consciousness from the future. I have had this experience where I touch, and this is going to be a little hard. I respect all belief systems. I am not asking anybody to believe in anything other than what serves their heart, their complete self, and what feels right within them. I am not teaching right now. This is my personal experiences.
Hmm.
I have touched base with consciousness from the future of my, and exactly that feeling that you just had. It is a very trippy feeling. That's a lot. It's a paradigm shift when you start. I've touched base with my consciousness from the future, and it's a lot to wrap the brain around.
Hmm.
I call them time shots because I can tell it's me. I can
Hmm.
tell communication from myself, and for many sky people, time and space is not linear for their cultures,
Hmm.
whereas for us, it's linear, right?
Let me catch another
And that is
question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
great.
Let me catch another
Thank you for
question
your
here.
open-minded.
Are sky people the little gods from Pleiades star cluster spoken of in many cultural myths?
Yes, there's countless poems across the history of humanity about the Pleiadians, and then there's also countless rich cultural heritage between so many societies on Earth between the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians have so many different timescapes, I call them in the novel. Timelines is another word. So when somebody touches place with the Pleiadian, let's just say a ninth dimensional Pleiadian, it doesn't necessarily mean each Pleiadian is living in the same timeline or the same timescape. And that's fascinating because I have communicated. Um, the Pleiadians I worked with are humanoid, and that has been my experience. They can appear, though, in many different bodies or avatars, different ways. And they're very compassionate. A lot of them are breatharian. There's a
Breatharians,
dainty,
interesting.
and they because of that, their physique is thin, and I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like, can I eat meat in front of you? That kind of thing. They're like, no, like they didn't say no, but I'm like, I want to be respectful, and
Well, can you
but they're,
call a can
they're
you call a can you call a UFO on command?
I have, but I decided this is hard to say. Not all experiences are 100%. Uh, I'm learning to be 100% loving when I do these things and to not disrupt culture here. Maybe not every neighbor wants that kind of thing. I don't want to scare somebody, a neighbor, and I've learned to just back off from it because I don't want to upset culture here. I don't think everybody's ready for a UFO visiting them. And that's never my intention to bring a fearful experience to another person. So I've learned to back off from that one. Um, yeah.
All right. Well, after watching this podcast tonight, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What's the best way to contact you?
My LinkedIn, linkedin.com/Carla Fischi Lazim. And
Okay.
I thank everybody for coming tonight and I feel so much open heartedness and open love and your adorable dog.
Thank you.
I want to send a light language transmission for your dog if you don't mind.
Oh,
Can I do
okay.
that?
Let me get her up here so she can receive that transmission.
Are you open to this little doggy?
Yeah,
Okay.
she.
Oh, kaya to may kaya ke koi ko kaya siya to amanesi siya ole ani di no man de kere ole ka siya ni toronoy kumati ake ka siya kunomotia. She has so much love.
Yeah,
They have so much love.
I was wondering if I should have put this headphone up to her ear so she could hear it because she didn't get to. I don't know if she heard anything, but I guess it
She
wouldn't
could.
matter if it was it's energetic anyways.
You're exactly right. I felt something in her heart, by the way.
Hmm.
She's got a nice little heart
She
there.
is the sweetest dog ever. It's the sweetest dog. One of my guests told me
She,
she was a gift from God to us because she
oh
is
my gosh,
super
yes,
sweet. She
she
never
is.
barks, almost never. She's just the kindest being, kindest dog ever. Look, she just sits there.
She's just lovely.
Yeah,
Oh, that light she has inside of her.
yeah,
She's pure love. Yeah,
yeah.
she is.
So, all right. Well, before we wrap it up, Carla, can you leave us with a positive message?
I would like to share that in humanity, when we come together, we have the capacity to send love so deeply and so dearly to even a person that we might see as a villain, a person who has shorted us or slighted us. If for one day we send them love, just as an experiment, maybe you could put a heart emoji on the contact that you blocked, just as an experiment, just to play with it as an exploration. We can understand the communication of love, empathy, and compassion reaches all of those 12 dimensions that CERN teaches in the atomic structure of our human body. 700 million atoms. We are powerhouses of love and empathy and compassion, just like our beautiful dog here. You can feel her love. I can feel her love here. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have that too.
Well, Carla, I wish you massive success with your book and whatever else you're up to. I just hope everything is amazing with you, and I'm grateful that you came and hung out with us again tonight. It was great seeing you again.
I give thanks to you and your family and all of this beautiful, amazing folks joining us. I am so grateful. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Carla. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend. Oh, she's gone. All right, let's give Carla a big round of applause. All right, so once again, tomorrow night is the video with Tim Tactics. I think he actually was, I'm pretty sure he was even on a live stream one time and we did like a group meditation. But we talk about contacting ETs with the Ouija board. We talk about reptilian aliens, love to dance, and other things. As you heard us speaking, on Monday night, I will be posting with Tony Ratham of Staticom about this, and they don't even call it a spirit box. It's more of they're calling it a static communication, with basically communicating in real time, live with beings on the other side. And something was a really fascinating conversation that we had. Not only the video of seeing what's going on, but just what is his theory of what spirits are doing on the other side. What is the veil? I love his idea because everybody loves to talk about the veil, but in his opinion, the veil is our body. I never really thought about that, but it makes a lot of sense that our body is what separates us from all the other beings that could be around us. Is the body. This body is the veil. And so we talked about that. He showed, like I said, he showed some video. I was trying to do it all in real time, which would have been really epic, but we couldn't get it to work, or we couldn't, I don't know if they could really get it to work, but that would have been super cool. But anyways, he showed me video of, things that they've done. And we talked about how because when he made a great point too, that, if you're just a being on the other side, you don't have ears. So you're not really hearing sound waves, And so it's all within the stream of consciousness, the field of conscious energy. And so they know our thoughts. That's how that there can, if you ask if they hear you, they just are hearing your thoughts or knowing your thoughts. And he talked about how that when they would ask questions, it's almost like as soon as they asked her, maybe even before they finished, I don't know. Maybe it was just as soon as they asked it, they were already answering, because again, the thought was in the field. So I think that if you're really into NDEs, you'll really enjoy this, because it just kind of, in my opinion, adds some more pieces to the puzzle. And on that puzzle, so far I'm up to about, I'm up to 700 NDE videos. If you can, that's amazing, even on my end, to think about 700, that I've heard 700 stories. And people have asked me, are you ever going to write a book? And I said, well, I probably at least would think I need to hear about 1,000 NDEs. So I'm about 300 away. I'm still not even sure after 300 more would I have all the answers. But I felt like if I did write a book, I would like to have all the answers, or at least close to it. So it would be, a revolutionary book that would really take NDE science and NDE theories and NDE information to the next level. But I want to have a library in my brain of talking to so many people that I could provide something of real value to people. So it would really, change your belief systems and your paradigms by reading that book. So I don't know how many I need to listen to. Is it 1,000? Is it 10,000? Who knows? But we'll keep on going. There's more NDEs out there, and I think there are potentially maybe unlimited NDEs out there, because more and more are still happening. So if you love NDEs, we're going to keep going, So those are the two videos that are coming up on Monday and tomorrow and Monday. I have an NDE to record on Monday, and then I've got one on Tuesday, and then some UFO people on Monday and Wednesday to record. And a guy named Savi, S-A-V-I, I don't know if you guys have heard of him, was contacted by his people, and he's some kind of metaphysical teacher or something. Next Saturday, I have the Thompson sisters, which were 3 psychic women that they gave us their 2024 predictions, and it was a lot of fun. And they're going to be back next Saturday night, so we'll see what they have. The Billy Meyer UFO story, which is a famous UFO story, was there's a woman named Britt Elders that her and her husband made a movie about the Billy Meyer story, I'm pretty sure back in the 70s, and that's amazing, or at least early 80s. And Britt is also manages, I don't know if he manages, but she's in charge of Shirley MacLaine's website. I don't know, maybe we'll get to talk to her about it, but perhaps her and Shirley MacLaine are great friends, and I think she's in charge of her website, if not other things. So I don't know. Shirley MacLaine's up. I think she's like 90 or 91. I don't know if she'd be up for being a guest, but that would be amazing if we can go from Britt to getting Shirley on the podcast too. So you never know. Well, we just never know. And so that's about it. Let's see. Again, if you want to be a member of our Discord, that's totally free. If you decide to join, you have to email me directly for the Discord passcode. I'm thinking that maybe I should just put it back up, because probably when I used to have it up, we had a lot more members joining quite often. And now that I'm not doing a live show completely anymore, I don't think that people that would come and cause a problem are not, they're not coming to see what I'm up to anymore. They probably forgot about what, my Saturday night podcast. So it probably might be safe to post it again. And that way, it might get busier in there. I think there's over 600 people. So that's something that I might need to do that again. And that's about it. We got a busy week coming up. And I hope you guys, one last thing is next Sunday night will be our member meetup again. So we all hang out for about an hour on Sunday night, usually at 7 p.m. Central Time. It's not live. It's just whoever shows up. It's for the members, for the silver and gold. And if you'd like to become a member and come hang out with us for an hour, we'd be glad to help you, talk with you. Like I said, we all hang out and just talk about whatever. So, you know, whatever that is. And you know what's pretty cool is I got to show you guys one last thing. Is I don't know how I got on their mailing list, but IANS, the International Near-Death Experiencer, what is it? International Association for Near-Death Studies. Somehow I got on their mailing list and I got one of their I guess it's more than a newsletter. It's kind of like a little magazine or something. But it's cool. What's really cool is somehow I got on their mailing list, and I don't know if you remember this guest, but the guest that has been working on this tapestry, they have a big article on there, and his name is Nuestro Nanamoli, and they have an article on him. And what's cool is not only in there, they talk about that you can come watch my video about it. So thank you to IANS for telling everybody to come watch my video. That's really cool. Appreciate you guys. And I should probably reach out to IANS and thank them about that. So awesome. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much. Guys and girls, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you all so much for coming and watching our videos. We appreciate you very much, and we love you. So have a good night, and God bless you. Bye-bye.